Hello, hello, hello. It is me, your True Heel Phenom SP3. We are back once again. It is over. The road to 100 we have met our destination, and now
Yes.
we are on the other side. This is True Heel Heat 101, 101. A new era begins. We even got a new intro. Thank you to Chris G and Stat King for that brand spanking new intro to the show. On this edition, of course, we are going to get into your latest wrestling news, including Selena Vega being released by WWE and unionization in professional wrestling. Very, very interesting topic right there. We got
Mhm.
all of the fallout from Impact Turning Point, as well as TalkNShopAMania 2, the first week of New Japan Pro Wrestling Best of the Super Juniors 27 and World Tag League 2020 action. New WWE Champion Drew McIntyre and a showdown with the Universal Champion Roman Reigns. The Impact farewell for the Rascals. Week 55 of the Wednesday Night Wars. And we're going to end things off with our preview and predictions for WWE Survivor Series 2020. And maybe we'll have some interesting questions I can ask my co-host, which of course it begins and starts and ends with the lovely, the beautiful, the princess of all the true heels, Miss Krssi Love.
Hello, hello, hello. Do we need to really talk about Survivor Series, the lack of Survivor Series, friend?
That's why I said I might make it interesting by asking you like Survivor Series theme questions. We got the 30 years of the Undertaker celebration, so we're gonna make it interesting. I've been on Wrestling
Fun.
Travel this week, their podcast. Congratulations to them for having their 20th episode. I've been on Wrestling Daily, so I got some interesting questions from doing those podcasts that I can share with you guys and see your guys' opinion. Of course, we got to thank our proud sponsors, our good friends over at Wrestling Travel. Like I said before, congratulations to them on their 20th episode of their podcast. Danny and Justin Clapper doing great things over there. Thank you, Justin, for your great introduction and 100th birthday message to us for True Hill
Nice.
Heat
Yeah.
100. And we have a very big announcement. True Heel Heat, to start off our new era for over 100 episodes, we are now going to be available for you folks in the UK on Powered 4 TV. Powered 4 TV is a great streaming service, streaming site that gives you great quality content, whole bunch of promotions like TNT Wrestling, 1PW Wrestling, as well as great podcasts, lockdown sessions from our good friend Justin Clapper and Wrestling Travels available over there. And now True Heel Heat, you can watch it on that website, and we're gonna probably have some exclusive content on Powered 4 TV. Some of the stuff that you see on the True Heel Heat YouTube channel right now might not be available very long on our YouTube channel, so watch it while you can because it's going to become exclusive property of Powered 4 TV. So how do you feel about our expansion into the UK, Miss Krssi Love?
That's big. It's like we're getting, we're going across. Like we're getting the nations now, like we're going to other countries. That's big, that's some big moves right there, man. That's exciting. We can be heard over across the pond. Why not? That's really, really big.
Yes, they've been helping us out so much with our work with wrestling, Wrestle Talk on the Wrestle 2 YouTube channel, Wrestling Daily, one of the faces of wrestling media in the UK, Alex McCarthy, and then of course our good friends over at Wrestling Travel. So it only seems right for us to do further expansion to the UK market, which is some of the best wrestling fans in the world, honestly.
Okay, let's do it. Can't wait to talk to them and meet them.
And speaking of fans, you know how we start off every single podcast, 100 episodes in. Yes, it is the Tru Heel roll call, where we shout out everyone who's supporting the Tru Heel Heat YouTube channel, all of our social media platforms from Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. Of course, we start things off with the Tru Heels group page on Facebook and our top 3 conversation starters. It used to be called the Tru Heel Trinity, but now I have decided to call it the Negro Bucks because it is named in honor of our retired jersey, our first retired jersey in the Raptors, Nick Jackson. So our top 3 Negro Bucks coming in at number 3 is Lorenzo Dozer. Coming in at number 2 is Argino Bismone, who is of Rambling Mania podcast. And coming in at number 1 is Charlie Layton. So
Oh wow!
congrats
Congrats.
to, congrats to that brand new top 3, the Negro Bucks of Tru Heel Heat 101. A couple of Tru Heels that we got to shout out: Stephanie Sepulveda, Ashton Adkins, Elliot Blakemore, Luke Walsgrove, and Silas Turner. Our YouTube subscriber highlight is the one, the only, the king of the comments section, Kayfabe Tactics, commenting on J News Japan episode 50. Congratulations to J News for hitting 50 episodes. I know the Stat King and Dark Power also celebrated 50 episodes this week. He's about to make his 1-year anniversary of Dark Power. So doing big things. They're catching up. They're nipping at our ankles, Krssi Love.
Well, we can. I'm sure we can run a little bit faster.
Hey,
But it's cool. I
we'll,
would know like no one else other but them to be nipping at our butts, right?
absolutely. We want them to reach that 100 as well. And Kayfabe Tactus commented on J News Japan episode 50, and he said, I enjoyed the show so far. By the way, I really hate what they've done with Evil. I fucking loved how he was in the New Japan Cup when he was kicking people in the balls and being a badass, but now he's just another basic guy that had to cheat and do BS stuff. Like the Great Okan, but he has to be more vicious. I have high hopes for his future. Thanks for the review, and I might have to have more to say once I start listening. So he got that right off the bat before he even pushed play. Love Kayfabe Tactics. He's always leaving us great comments in the comments section. So if you're watching this, if this is your first time watching, leave us a comment. Tell us what you're thinking about everything going on in the wrestling world, because we talk about it all right here on Tru Heel Heat, which brings us to what we missed. It was a busy weekend on a not as jam-packed as the last couple of weekends, or pretty much this whole year, since the a lot of promotions have come back from lockdown. But we did have Impact Turning Point, which was an Impact Plus special. Usually these are not as noteworthy as this one. This is probably the most noteworthy Impact Plus special, as we had new Impact Tag Team Champions as the Good Brothers defeated the North in a good matchup. The Good Brothers becoming the Impact Tag Team Champions for the first time since them coming over to the promotion this past July at Slammiversary. We also had Deonna Purrazzo win the Impact Knockouts title, defeating Su Yung in a no disqualification contest. And we had a surprise debut as Joe Doring, the former All Japan Pro Wrestling Triple Crown champion, debut with Eric Young by his side attacking the Deaners. And in the main event, Rich Swann defeated Sami Callihan to defend the Impact World title. What is your thoughts, Miss Krssi Love, on the Good Brothers becoming the new Impact Tag Team Champions? The North just won the titles at Bound for Glory just 2 weeks ago and already have lost the titles just a couple of weeks later. So do you like the fact that they had a short run? And what is your thoughts on the Good Brothers becoming the new champs?
Didn't I pick the Good Brothers to win for Bound for Glory, so I'm not sure what they're doing. I'm just a simple girl that does a podcast. But I don't know why they would give them such a short run, like other wrestling companies that give other people short runs, and we'll talk about later. But I'm sure they'll get a rematch. But the booking makes no sense. Let's flip flop the titles back and forth on people. I mean, what is going on here?
Well, I made this point when I did the Dark Power special with Stag King talking about this show in depth, and I got why they put the titles on the North because well, one, the Alex Shelley may have been injured, may have been not. He was banged up, and they had to get him out. And it gave the North a second title run when they don't have that much time with the promotion left because if the rumors are correct, Ethan Page's contract expires in January with Impact. So maybe I felt like they just wanted to give the North a transitional run. They didn't want the Good Brothers to outright beat the Motor City Machine Guns. They wanted them to kind of have that in-between feud with the North before we get probably Good Brothers versus Motor City Machine Guns in January at the next actual pay-per-view for Impact Wrestling.
Got you. Okay. Well, you know the info, sir. That makes sense.
Well, I just try to make sense of these things, even though yes, it is a strange decision on the peripheral. And speaking of new champions, Deonna Purrazzo becoming the new Impact Knockouts champion. We've talked about this a lot, that the whole Kylie Rae situation probably had a lot to do with dictating that. But do you think it's a good decision that they put in the title back on Deonna now that we know Kylie Rae is not with the promotion anymore?
I mean, yeah, let's go with it. I mean, she can clearly, run, be a helpful face for the company. So why not make that transition and have it go back to her, since their initial plan was to put it on Kylie. So
yeah, and I think they were kind of put into an interesting situation where they wanted Kylie Rae to win the title there, but Su Yung was kind of the replacement. She had just returned to that kind of persona, and putting the title on her was a nice surprise for the Bound for Glory being their biggest show of the year. But yeah, it's more Deonna Purrazzo is more the priority there with the Knockouts division, so it makes sense.
Yep.
All right, well, we got to move on to the other big pay-per-view of the weekend, which has been called the second worst pay-per-view ever, because the first worst pay-per-view ever was TalkNShopAMania 1. TalkNShopAMania 2 was this weekend. This is the brainchild of the aforementioned Good Brothers, Carl Anderson and Luke Gallows. I'm just gonna I did real quick my notes on this show. We had the Cock Torturer World Order, the CWO, beat both Sex Ferguson and Chad Too Bad, who were the participant in the first ever Ball for a Ball match. Yes, Krssi, that is their parody of an eye for an eye match. They had a Ball for a Ball match where you had to rip off your opponent's balls. And yes, the CWO, the Cock Torturer World Order, was joined, had the Faces of Fear, Barbarian and Warlord, joined the CWO, and they ripped off the balls of Sex Ferguson and Chad Too Bad. Yes, I wanted that perfect face right there. That was the perfect face for that explanation. We also had Retribution spoof with the group called Retribution with corn cob, slap nuts.
I can't.
Yes.
No.
Yes.
Please stop. No.
And they were affiliated with Chad Too Bad. He brought Retribution with him. We had an Evolution parody with Nature Boy Buddy Lee, Triple Huh, played by Mark Jindrak, who was the guy who was replaced in the actual Evolution by Batista. We had Nathan Orton, and we had Nox Tista. And they had a very, very parody song, which instead of evolution is a mystery, the lyrics were circumcision is a mystery. Great stuff. Great stuff.
They put time and money into all of this mess.
Yes, they did. We had a Lucha Libre death match with Chico El Luchador's team defeating Chavo Guerrero's team, with Chavo being killed by a lightsaber. And we had cameos from Chris Jericho, Brian Myers, Hornswoggle, Scott D'Amore, Chris Van Vliet, Karate Man, Ethan Page, Scott Steiner, the aforementioned Faces of Fear, and Vincent, and a bunch more that I can't even mention here. If I can just make one recommendation to anyone watching, to you, Miss Krssi Love, if you just want to laugh at professional wrestling that is purposely trying to just make you laugh, watch TalkNShopAMania. If not, don't waste your time. Brandy Orton said it best. He'd rather be in a 2-on-1 handicap match against Nathan Jones and the Great Gali than watch this pay-per-view. So it's totally up to you, but it was a fun hour and a half of my life that I don't regret. I don't regret. It was good
Really?
laughs to me. Yes, it was a good laughs.
Um. So this is not a part of Impact. This is something totally different.
This is the brainchild of Carl Anderson and Luke Gallows.
Got it. And this is their second pay-per-view?
Yes.
Huh. Interesting.
It was good stuff. We even had ECW alumni. We even had ECW alumni Justin Credible, Tommy Dreamer, and Rhino. Instead of doing a hardcore match, they had a softcore match where they threw pillows and teddy bears at each other.
I can't. You know what?
Great stuff. Great
Really?
stuff.
Okay.
I enjoyed it. I enjoyed it. That's all I could say.
All right, sure. I mean, you know.
Also, over the weekend, we had New Japan Pro Wrestling Best of Super Juniors 27 and World Tag League 2020 action kickoff. Night 1 had Hiromu Takahashi defeat the IWGP Junior Heavyweight Champion Taiji Ishimori in the main event. Great encounter there with one of the sickest bumps of the year. If you know Hiromu with the injured neck, he got power driven on the apron. Ouch. And there was a lot of drops on the head in that one. We also had the debut of Jeff Cobb as the newest member of Will Ospreay's The Empire, and he's going to be teaming with Great Okan in the World Tag League, and they defeated Tanahashi and Hanare in the opening night. Finjuice also defeated the returning Gorillas of Destiny on night 1. Night 2 had Dangerous Tekkers beat Tanahashi and Hanare. And we also had Sonata and Shingo of LIJ defeat Tomohiro Ishii and Toru Yano. Best of Super Juniors Night 2 had El Desperado defeat Hiromu Takahashi in the main event. We also had Ishimori defeat Taguchi. And then the World Tag League Night 3 had Shingo and Sonata defeat Dangerous Tekkers, the IWGP Heavyweight Tag Team Champions. So even if Shingo and Sonata don't win this tournament, they might be in line for a title shot down the line since they defeated the champions in the tournament. Ishii and Yano also defeated Goto and Yoshihashi in a battle of Chaos members. So good action there, but we had so much to unload and unpack in Tru Heel Heat 100. We didn't get to do preview and predictions for Turning Point, for the World Tag League, or for Best of the Super Juniors. So I'm going to ask Miss Krssi Love now. Miss Krssi Love has a good record. She's the only person that I know on any wrestling platform that predicted Kota Ibushi to win the G1 Climax. So I'm going to ask her first for the Best of the Super Juniors 27. We have in this tournament Miss Krssi Love, the IWGP Junior Heavyweight Champion Taiji Ishimori. We have the one half of the IWGP Junior Heavyweight Tag Team Champions El Desperado. We have Yuri Uemura, who's a young lion. We have the 2018 Best of the Super Junior winner, the ace of the juniors, Hiromu Takahashi. We have the 2012 Best of the Super Juniors winner, Ryosuke Taguchi. We have Master Wato, who is making his debut. We have Show of Roppongi 3K. We have Robbie Eagles, Bushi, and Dookie in this tournament. I will just tell you that the favorites. What happened?
I said, yeah, okay, go ahead. Who's the favorites now? Because that's a lot of names.
I know. There's a lot of names for your load, so I like to put it down a little bit for you. But of course, the junior heavyweight champion Taji Ishimori is a favorite in this one of the best juniors in New Japan. Also, Hiromu Takahashi, like I said, he won it in 2018. He is the ace of the juniors, the biggest star in the juniors, in my opinion. And I would say Show of Roppongi 3K is another favorite in this one, and Robbie Eagles would probably be a dark horse. So I would say it's between those four names for you: Ishimori, Hiromu, Show, or Eagles. Who do you think is going to win?
Say the second name again.
Hiromu Takahashi.
I'm gonna go with him.
So we are in agreement that Hiromu Takahashi is going to win. I'm going to go as far as to say Hiromu Takahashi needs to win because he's the biggest star in the junior heavyweight division.
Okay, right. And he won too, correct?
He won in 2018. He had the neck injury that took him out. He just returned the end of last year, and he won the junior heavyweight title at Wrestle Kingdom. If you remember, he defeated Will Ospreay at Wrestle Kingdom. He lost the title at Summer Struggle.
I believe I Will Ospreay to win.
Yes, I believe so.
Cool.
You picked against him then, so you don't want to make that wrong decision twice. So we're in agreement there that Takahashi is going to win the Best of the Super Juniors. Now the World Tag League is going to be going on at the same time. There are 10 teams there as well. We have Hiroshi Tanahashi and Toru Hanare. We have Juice Robinson and David Finlay, who won the tournament last year. We have Zack Sabre Jr. and Taishi, who are the IWGP Heavyweight Tag Team Champions. We have the Bullet Club, our favorites, Tama Tonga and Tonga Loa, the Gorillas of Destiny. We have Hiroki Goto and Yoshihashi, who are 2/3 of the Never Openweight 6-man tag team champions. We have the King of Pro Wrestling himself, Toru Yano, and his tag team partner, Tomohiro Ishii. We have Shingo Takagi and Sanada. We have Evil and Yujiro Takahashi of the Bullet Club, Bad Luck Fale and Chase Owens of the Bullet Club, and the aforementioned Empire duo of Great Okan and Jeff Cobb to kind of lower down those numbers for you once again. Of course, the heavyweight tag team champions, Sabre Jr. and Taishi, could win this one. God just returned to Japan, so they are another favorite to win. They've never won the World Tag League, even though they've been in, I believe, 2 of the last 3 finals has been with God in the finals without them winning. And Shingo and Sanada would be one of my other favorites in this one because in my eyes they are the best team in this tournament. So who do you think it's going to be between those 3 teams?
I'm going to say God because they've got to the final. Like you said, they've been there twice and they have never won it at all. The other teams you spoke of, they've both won them, correct?
No, they've never won. None of these,
guys won?
Except for Juice and Finlay, who won the tournament last year. None of the other teams have won a World Tag League before.
I'm still going to stay with my.
You're going to go with God. I really want to go with God, but I'm going to be different on this one, and I'm going to go with my favorite team in this tournament, which is Shingo and Sanada of LIJ. Even though Shingo has the Never Openweight Championship, I could still see these guys winning the tournament, and Shingo probably defending his title on the second night of Wrestle Kingdom after getting a shot at the heavyweight tag team titles. Cool. So you guys know, of course, the winner of the Best of the Super Juniors will get a shot at the IWGP Junior Heavyweight Championship. If Ishimori wins, he gets to pick his challenger for Wrestle Kingdom 15. World Tag League, the winner of the tournament will verse the Heavyweight Tag Team Champions. And if, of course, Dangerous Tekkers do win the tournament, being the champions, they get to pick their challengers at Wrestle Kingdom. So we're going to have a lot to cover from New Japan to end off 2020. But we finally going to move on to WWE action. SmackDown this past week, the home of SmackDown with the Lynches. You can check them out on the YouTube channel. That video is up right now with their review of SmackDown this past week. And we had Drew McIntyre appear on SmackDown to tell Roman Reigns that he will verse him at Survivor Series and defeat.
I feel like you already knew already.
Yeah, it's like they you know him appearing, first of all, had me like, what was the point of the draft? And
Okay. See, this is why I hate the draft. I'd rather you like the whole brand shit. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't. It makes it like, what's the point? Like, if I can come on your show and you can come on my show, why am I the brand over
yeah, I was just like, what's the point of the draft if Drew McIntyre could just walk on the show?
here? You
But he
saw Roman like, what are you doing here? Like, hey, hello, hi, how are you? Like, why are you over here? You belong on Raw. Like, so him like doing all of that, and then him beating Jimmy, just kind of like,
Jay.
huh?
Jay.
I mean, I'm sorry, him beating Jay. I apologize. Him beating Jay is just like kind of made you say, okay, because Jay had been on a good run, as Roman said, and to make him now, lose to Drew, I was like, okay, they're gonna do something. Not really finding out, as we go on to the next thing to talk about it. So go ahead.
Yeah, he defeated Jay in the main event of the show. I did like Roman's line that he doesn't watch Monday Night Raw, so
Right.
because everybody watches SmackDown, which is true. It's
Just
true.
I mean,
it is what it is.
Our tribal chief,
Our tribal chief.
I told the children he's our tribal chief. Who did it open up with? And I don't need to watch. Like I'm loving this new Roman Reigns. Like I don't have to watch Monday Night Raw. My business is over here. No one watches it because everyone is watching me.
And Paul Heyman was awesome when Roman said he didn't watch Raw. He says, "You're not missing much."
Right? Yes, I was like, "Yo, roasted, yo, me and the kids was going crazy in here." Sometimes I say I have to watch. I have to tape our enactment of looking at it because what we be saying and what they be like, oh, like, but then it'd be like too long of a tape. It's like little excerpts of like them like paying attention to certain parts, and it's like. It's good. And it's like, oh, when Paul Heyman said, I was like, oh, that is like good shit right there. That is good booking. It's like, it just like rolled off the tongue. I'm sure he, like, are we practicing this?
that was a total ad lib for sure. We also had Rey Mysterio defeat Seth Rollins in a no holds barred match to finally end that feud with the help of Buddy Murphy, whose master plan was to get Seth to believe that he was on his side for 1 week just to turn his back on him when it was a no holds barred match, and he could have just done that. Okay. And then the Mysterio family.
Huh? I said, you have to watch SmackDown with the Lynches. I was like, this is ridiculous, but okay.
And then Mysterio family accepted Murphy into the family, I guess. And then the final note that I want to ask you about is Chelsea Green made her debut on SmackDown, and she got injured in the process as Liv Morgan won the Fatal 4-Way to qualify for Team SmackDown. What's your thoughts on Chelsea Green's unfortunate debut on the main roster?
Like, man, it's sad. You get called up to the called to the big leagues or whatever. You call to the and then you got to be injured now. Like it's sad. It's unfortunate. It's a broken wrist, so hopefully she'll be back sooner than later. But it's unfortunate. Like, and I was saying when I watched, I was like, Dag, she hasn't been in the ring. Like she was on the ground, like she was on the floor the whole time after that the whole incident happened. So it was like you didn't see her or Tamina. So it was like, okay, I figured just Tamina was just doing her own thing down on the floor or whatever. But for her. And then when I read on Twitter, like what happened to her, I felt really bad for her, And I didn't even know she was one of the prospects who get called up. But okay.
Yeah, I mean, we're going to talk about later what they were actually planning to call her, which was an interesting note, but I'll wait till Top Guy JJ joins us. On Raw, we had the big title change that we kind of teased already. Drew McIntyre defeating Randy Orton to win the WWE Championship. We also had the New Day defeat Hurt Business to defend the Raw Tag Team titles in a very fun contest, even though Cedric Alexander tried to kill himself a few times. Retribution defeated Team Raw in an 8-man tag, and Lana goes through a table for the 9th time in 10 weeks. What was your thoughts on Drew becoming the new WWE champion, Miss Krssi Love?
So here, after seeing Friday, is you can't really have like a heel versus heel per se, because I believe Randy is heel, but I feel that it could have worked because we've gone for brand. But I guess we needed a face and a heel since Roman is the heel on SmackDown. I mean, I would have liked to see Roman and Orton, but we're gonna see Drew and Roman. So hey, I wasn't happy with the thing because I was like, he just became a champ, and now he's gonna just drop the belt. Like, you should have gave him the belt back, from the first from before. Like, you made them wrestle four times? Or was
Yes.
it okay, four? We wrestled 4 times. Drew won 3. Randy wins 1. He finally wins that 1 just to lose it again. I'm like, you should have just gave it to him on the first match, the first go around when we all said, let's just call it a day. If that was the plan, to just give it back to Drew.
Yeah, I totally agree with you. I did get, okay, you wanted to put Drew in a chase position. It added a layer to his character, but Randy had all that momentum going into SummerSlam. You either should have changed the title there or at Clash of Champions. Hell in a Cell, it got to the point that he had to win. He had to win at that point, and you never want to get it to that point for such a great feud. That is the signature feud of Drew McIntyre's year, and I just feel like they didn't book it too far in advance. They were kind of going on the fly.
And that's what we were saying, like, after like the second one, we was like, okay, why do they keep making Drew win? Like, what is the point? Like, why do you have Randy keep chasing this? He beat up all of the legends. The legends didn't beat him up, and then now you have him win to let's let him lose again. Like, it's just like your booking makes no sense. So now it's like, okay, I know our tribal chief is not going to lose at Survivor Series.
One would hope. One would hope. We will.
Roman is on such a win, to make him lose would like be like, I think, detrimental to the whole like point of it. You know what I'm saying? But
Yeah. Hey, we like you said, we only just do a wrestling podcast. We don't know much, but we're gonna give our Survivor Series predictions for sure. But our final 2 things that we miss in the week was, of course, Impact Wrestling had the emotional farewell of the Rascals from Impact Wrestling in an awesome tag team matchup main event with Rich Swann and Trey Miguel defeating Dez and Wentz. Probably one of the best matches of the week up until the Wednesday Night Wars, and they had a whole bunch of matches there. Knockouts tag team tournament kicked off with Havoc and Nevaeh defeating Alicia Edwards and Tenille Dashwood. And I'm gonna go ask the prediction queen, Miss Krssi Love, one more time for one more tournament with the Knockouts tag team titles on the line. These are the 7 teams that are left, so you have to give me your prediction. I'm not gonna break it down for you. You just gotta listen to the names, and you got to figure it out on your own. We got Havoc and Nevaeh, who defeated Alicia Edwards and Tenille Dashwood this past week. We got Killer Kelly and Renee Michelle. Killer Kelly was in the Mae Young Classic. Renee Michelle is the wife of Drake Maverick. We got Jordan Grace and a mystery partner. We don't know who it is yet. We just know that this person was about to retire before they're going to make their comeback. We got Kiera Hogan and Tasha Steelz, who has been the main heel team of the Knockouts division. We got the Sea Stars, our very own Sea Stars of Battle Club Pro, the Battle Club Pro Tag Team Champions. We got Deonna Purrazzo and Kimber Lee. And then finally, we have Taya Valkyrie and Rosemary. So who do you think is going to be the Knockouts Tag Team Champions?
Well, Deonna Purrazzo has a belt unless they want to do like that whole angle like they had with Bayley with 2 belts. Damn.
You never know. You never know. Maybe.
I like that idea, but it's already been done, so I don't. Team Valkyrie and
Rosemary.
Rosemary, yes.
I actually like that pick a lot, and they were like my favorite team up until this tournament was made. Looking at the bracket, my heart is with the Sea Stars because we seen them with Battle Club Pro, and they've grown a lot, becoming the first ever Battle Club Pro tag team champions, and I was very excited to see them in this tournament. Jordan Grace and her mystery partner is a very interesting choice. Of course, we got our heart also with Havoc, who was on our Tru Heel Heat YouTube channel earlier this year with the interview, but I have to go with Kira Hogan and another Battle Club alumni in Tasha Steeles. They've been the main heel team in Impact for the last couple of months, so I think they're going to win the titles here.
Okay, cool.
And then finally, it was MLW's return, the restart. We've been talking about it for the last couple of weeks. It came on just an hour before NXT and AEW. We had Jacob Fatu defeat Davey Boy Smith Jr. to defend the MLW Heavyweight Championship, as openweight champion Alex Hammerstone challenged Fatu earlier in the night. We had Myron Reed defeat Brian Pillman Jr. to successfully defend the MLW Middleweight Championship, and he challenged Leo Rush to a match. So a lot of interesting things going on MLW Fusion. It's available on YouTube. If you haven't watched it, definitely a fun show because you can kind of get in on the beginning of it with the restart. It kind of is nice for new fans to discover MLW, and they got a lot of interesting things going on. Jacob Fatu, one of my favorites outside of like WWE, AEW. He's just got this rough voice that he always sounds like he's dropping bars or doing a freestyle every time he does a promo. It's very, very good promo work from him. So check out MLW Fusion and their restart. All right, we're moving on to our top news. And of course, that brings in our third host of the show on the other side of 100 for one-on-one. He is the resident Tru Heel alcoholic himself, Top Guy JJ. Welcome, sir.
Oh yeah. Wait, this ain't strong enough. We just celebrated 100. You know what I mean? Like,
let's go.
Got emotional with my peoples and shit. And here we go. Let's go. The road to 200 already starts now. Road to 200. Good Lord.
Cheers to you, friend. Here you go. How about that?
Cheers. Cheerio.
Oh yes, babe. Yes.
Cheers to you both. I don't have my cup handy.
Yeah, you gotta be a whole dad. So
yeah, exactly. I can't do that.
Like, hug you. It's like I have to do.
You have a a drink in your hand when it's about to be your shift. Oh yeah, the evil look you would get. Yeah, you'd be grounded for months.
Absolutely. I already get evil looks. I'm good on that. But yes, like I said, we're getting into our top news, and this one has to be one of the biggest news of not only just the week, but of the whole entire year, as Zelina Vega is released from WWE. This was this past Friday in the latest development of WWE's third-party ban. Shortly before her release was announced, Vega tweeted out, "I support unionization" on Twitter. PW Insider reports that multiple WWE sources have confirmed that the release was due to fallout from WWE's demand that talents end their relationships with platforms like Twitch and Cameo as the company wanted to handle such options for the talent themselves. Vega was reportedly informed that she was being released on Friday afternoon, and the report confirms that her tweet about unionization had nothing to do with it, which was very misleading with a couple of the headlines going on. People thought that WWE would release somebody 10 minutes after a tweet. As she was released well before that, as we just said, she was apparently very vocal about holding on to her Twitch account, with her continuing to stream after Vince McMahon's deadline to take them down, and has the 90-day non-compete clause, which means that she cannot sign elsewhere until at least mid-February. Vega, aka Thea Trinidad, was very emotional on her Twitch live stream on Friday evening, addressing the release. Thea confirmed that she is not retiring from professional wrestling. She got well over 2,700 gift subs during that stream and was overwhelmed by the support, even going into tears. She also tweeted out this in regards to the release, and I quote, she said, "I want to say thank you all very much for the last 3 to 4 years at WWE Universe. It was incredible. I would have never been able to say this is for you, Dad, if certain people did not believe in me. I love you all, and I couldn't have done it without your support." During her stream, she thanked folks like Tommy Dreamer, The Rock, and others about her success in the WWE. Paige and Renee Young were among those who went public with their support of Thea. Sports Illustrated reported that WWE confirmed that the reason Vega was released was due to a breach of contract and that opening an OnlyFans account was the last straw. Vince McMahon have reportedly warned talent if they continue to use third-party platforms, they were subject to a fine, suspension, or firing. So basically, Vega was used as an example. Vega's OnlyFans account charges $30 per month for exclusive videos and photos of cosplay, lingerie, swimsuits, and more. According to sources, WWE felt that Vega put them in a difficult situation by opening the account, and her firing was an example that the new policy would be enforced. It was also reported by Wrestling Observer that Trinidad was making more money off of social media accounts than she was from her WWE contract. SAG and AFTRA, which are the unions that are a part of like Hollywood and actors, declared the support of Zelina Vega and unionization in professional wrestling due to all of this. They have even gone as far as having a quote, powerful conversation with Thea this week. According to WrestleVotes, Trinidad's husband, Aleister Black, also requested heading back to NXT, which was denied by WWE officials, and it's been described that the situation is tense between both sides, between Black and the WWE. So I will start with you, Top Guy JJ. What are your thoughts on the release of Zelina Vega and the circumstances surrounding this in regards to WWE's third-party ban?
I mean, I think that we've all kind of hit this, that this was coming. Like not to the swift circumstance that it took place, but we kind of knew that like these females and these talents are doing things outside of the company that they need to find additional income from. And now I'm not sure how these contracts work. I'm not saying I'm a rocket scientist when it comes to this, but I'm assuming without these house shows, they're getting paid less days a week. So there are no house shows anymore in WWE because of the pandemic. So if you're on Raw, if you're on SmackDown, if you're on NXT, you're working maybe 5 times a month. That includes pay-per-views.
If you're even booked.
Right. So you got to at least report to your brand at least 5 times a week, 5 times a month. So where's all this extra money supposed to come from? The WWE, I'm going to assume, did not give any of the talent raises or give them extra influx of cash for the missing dates. So I'm assuming that this money is now missing. Mm-hmm. How do you think these ladies and these talents and these people are going to make this up? They have to find another revenue. They have to find another avenue. And the fact that they have celebrity power, they're going to use it. Now on the WWE's hand, it's kind of like, but you're using the name that we gave you to gain.
Well, Selena really wasn't. She was going by her name, Thea Trinidad. Right. I mean, she was using some of the fan base that she did get from her time in WWE. That's one thing, but she wasn't using her likeness.
No, so I mean, obviously, I think it sucks. It just sucks. But the WWE just needs to. I don't think that they have their head on to understand that there is a serious dynamic with how many dates they lose per month, let alone per year, that they have to now accommodate for. Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. And the fact that you have, and then on top of that, the female talents aren't on every week. They're not on every week. Sometimes they skip a week, so they might be on twice a month. Yep. If they're on twice a month and then they're not booked for the pay-per-view, they work 2 times for the entire month. How is that supposed to be sufficient enough to feed your family and keep the roof over your head that you've already bought with the current contract that you had from the company? So how else is this supposed to happen with something instant? This is instant. Twitch is instant. They're doing something that they actually naturally like, and they're using their following to gain a profit. They're doing this to make money. They're not doing this because they're trying to be spiteful. They have to make up their money. They have to. This is not an option. The pandemic does not bounce off of the WWE, and it's not reflective of WWE. The shit hits everyone. Now, if people like Roman Reigns, Drew McIntyre, like the top dogs, they can live on 5 checks a month because they get booked every week. They're going to be on every pay-per-view. They still do the virtual meet and greets. They will still find ways to get them money.
Well, to kind of Sponge, on what you're saying with the female talent and any talent in WWE, they have a contract. It's not about when they appear, that they get paid on when they appear. But yes, the house show money is a part of like additional revenue that they would be getting that they're not seeing right now. And as far as like those contracts and the deals that WWE Superstars has, Wrestling Observer reported that there are currently two different types of deals in the WWE. Category A, which included Zelina Vega, are the deals that were made before the arrival of AEW. In other words, her deal was made before WWE's decision to re-sign wrestlers to bigger money contracts to keep them away from AEW. Those big money deals would be category B, which is guys like
Guys, so much. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
which are guys like AJ Styles, Randy Orton. They signed deals after AEW came into existence, so they're making big money deals. That's why AJ Styles, when this edict came down, he was like, "Yep, shutting down the Twitch account. I'm good. I'm making big money, so I don't need this."
Yeah, but how many ladies?
Which accounts were kind of leaked in the first place, but we're not going to go about that part.
Yeah, I would say that. Yeah, AJ Styles did bring attention unwarranted to
and
Twitch.
let's keep it 100. How many ladies in this company and in this brand and in women's wrestling are getting big contracts?
None of them.
No, they are. Charlotte Flair.
No, there's a handful, a very small handful.
Right, I can count on my hand.
Very small fan.
Yeah.
So you probably got you probably got Sasha Banks. You probably got Bayley. You got Charlotte. Who else? You probably have Asuka that is getting paid big money. They probably paid a pretty penny for Io Shirai.
Well, Asuka is a part of those that signed their deals prior to AEW coming into existence. I know Charlotte re-upped after AEW, so she's making significantly more. I know Becky Lynch is another that kind of signed her contract after AEW, so she's making significantly more. Bayley and Sasha were probably at the top end before AEW, but Charlotte and Becky are up.
If you're not a superstar in that division, you're getting basically middle class contracts.
Yeah.
So I get it. I get that they have to do that. So it's like, yo, she needs to keep. You gotta keep. You can't put them in that position. They're gonna choose the latter. And the fact that she actually admitted that she was making more money off these social media accounts than she was with her WWE contract. Which one do you think she's gonna pick?
Hey, she definitely made the right decision, and it takes courage to make the decision that she did.
Oh yeah. Bravo to her.
I agree with the whole unionization, because they be doing some real fuckboy shit with these contracts, and not everyone, and it's like anyone that like gets a contract and is like, yo, I made it, but it's shame, you got to get the proper lawyer, but then you probably couldn't afford that lawyer yet. Who knows? And that lawyer didn't like tell them what it was right away. So it's like, you get these contracts, and it's like all sports leagues have unions. NBA, I believe the NFL, I believe most of them all have unions, and they ran by people that are in the league. So it's like, why not have a union to help with us in these things, in these times where we need support? Like, we should be able to like go to someone and be like, hey, I'm not really feeling certain things, like, because I can't go to Vince right away. I got to call someone or whatever. I got to, he can't be reached, hey, I want to talk to Vince. Okay, well, he's a little booked right now. All right, well, I'm going to just, I'll tell this person, and then maybe they'll get to you and the message will get to him. I don't know how Vince is reached. Again, I just do a small podcast. No, well, not small. We do a really big podcast that's going to be very big. Anywho, what I'm saying is it should be something that they should do. They don't have the like, you get a job, they get any health care, like certain things that's happening to them. I believe like they don't have these things.
I think it really comes down to the fact that they're viewed and classified as independent contractors, but then they're trying to make income outside of their contract with WWE, and they're treating them like employees, which it's different. It's different from the NFL and the NBA, which they are employees of whatever team they're signed to. They are not independent contractors like WWE views their employees, and that's why guys like presidential candidate Andrew Yang is looking at WWE like side-eyeing them. But I think that the whole unionization conversation is a tenfold type of conversation, because although the issue, I don't think it's an industry wide issue when it comes to this. It's a WWE issue. It
Yeah.
will have industry wide consequences, because even if someone doesn't want to join the unionization of wrestlers, it's going to have an effect tenfold. It will affect wrestling schools. It will affect guys at the bottom just starting out in the business. So I think there's ways to protect the wrestlers without outright having a union. But I think that's what people get confused on. Like Cody has came out of AEW, has come out and said that unions would ruin the business, and he said that there are other ways to protect the wrestlers without doing that, because AEW doesn't try to adhere on their outside incomes like WWE is doing, even though they do also classify their wrestlers as independent contractors. So it's all different situation. But do you guys foresee this being an isolated situation coming off this third party ban by WWE, or do you think it's more of the first domino dropping with this whole situation with feedback and response from the roster? Let's start with you, Krssi.
I think the thing with Zelina, with what's her real name?
They Trinidad.
She was an example. She was definitely an example. And for someone that was being very vocal, they was like, all right, keep, I think it's something that it'll show the others. Maybe the others will maybe like, oh, like I need my job. I'm gonna fall back. Like, certain times when you see an example happen, you have the whole crowd with you and be like, yeah, I agree with you. And then when that one apple get cut, you be like, oh, wait, maybe I shouldn't, talk too much, because then like we in a pandemic now, I really need my job, and then you're not gonna let me have a job for 90 days. Like, do I get unemployment now? Like, how does that all work? Like, I think about stuff like that. Like, it's stupid, but it's not stupid, because you're like, okay, her husband is getting income. There's still an income, there's still a household. Like, does he now like pay? Like, he got to take over her bill. Like, you got to think of it like in a whole trajectory. Like, this is a family. This family now, she got bills, he got bills. They got to pay for a house. They got a house now. Like, everything got to get paid for. Do I get unemployment? Do I get that $105 a week, or do I not get that $105? Because now I done got fired from my damn job. Well, they let me go from my contract. Do I get the remains from my contract? Like, you give me a stipend? Like, how does that all work? And it's sad, because that she was that example, and now everyone is now like, oh, maybe I won't, do what I was. Maybe I won't be really behind Thea, because I was like, I really need my job, and I'm gonna just sit put and just be quiet and just like, go sit in that corner and just let Vince do whatever the fuck he wants to do.
Yeah, it axes a lot of questions, and it begs a lot of questions. But going back to the whole unionization thing, do you Top Guy JJ think that unionization is needed in the wrestling business, or do you think it would be damaging to the entire structure of the industry?
Yeah, because I think everybody has a unique situation when it comes to their own individual contract. So I do think that unionizing it would create a lot of complications. And it would create a lot of complications, because there's too many levels to the talent in the wrestling industry. There's too many levels to it. Like, you have your up and comers, you have your trainees, you have your jobbers, you have your mids, you have your midders, you have your top mids, you have your main eventers, there's too many levels to just put them all in a group. It's just too many. So yeah, I do feel that they do need to keep them as their own separate contracts, because each person needs to be handled accordingly. But now with Thea's, I think hers is going to be a one-off, because there's not going to be, as Krssi said, there's not going to be a lot of women that follows behind this, because not as many women make as much money as Thea makes outside of the WWE and the social media handles. It. So you get if say Lacey Evans had the same things going on, and she's probably making a third of what Thea was making. She has a decision to make.
Yeah.
Let it go or keep my contract, which is permanent, if literally all I got to do is make this decision. Because if they release me, all I got to do is open them shits back up.
Yeah.
So it's literally, I can make a choice if they cut me anyway. But if I have to make a choice here and there, am I taking my contract, or am I making Thea Trinidad money where I can make this decision. Now, I'm assuming Paige handed off her handles to the WWE.
Yeah,
Well,
her name-
Paige went about changing hers to her actual name,
yeah, hers is her actual name. Like her Twitter, everything is her actual name.
but she's
Right.
now continuing to stream. So I don't know if she's gonna be another one that pays the consequences. But she's in a interesting situation because she's not actively wrestling.
Right, because that's who I would, because I know she's still contracted by the company, but it's like, do they treat her the same way they treated Thea? And Paige's decision is going to be easy as hell. She's going to release me from the company.
Yeah.
Because it's just, because that's Paige is killing it she's killing it on the streaming services. So, and that's the same thing. Like, they're all doing it. Ronda Rousey's doing the same thing. And obviously now the Ronda Rousey would make it very interesting, because if they even want Ronda Rousey to come back, you think Ronda's giving up her YouTube page?
Well, that's going to probably be within the contract negotiations between the two sides, because even somebody like Bruce Pritchard, when he signed on to come back to WWE, he put in his contract that he wanted to continue doing his podcast and that WWE couldn't interfere with that. So that's all going to be a part of like the contract situation.
So that feels like that's just going to cause so much of a stir that I don't think there's going to be so many instances where this is going to happen like how Thea's. I think Thea had a real choice to make, and I think she had to make it. I don't think that every other female is going to have that option of choice. Like, if Bayley or Sasha had to do it, they're dropping the fucking all lines because they make so much WWE money, they don't need it.
Right.
Yeah. But I think someone like Sasha Banks has kind of shown with her doing the Mandalorian and showing that she can be successful outside the WWE, that I think even if she left WWE, she would be another one that would be perfectly fine. And her star power oversees what it would be in WWE.
I mean, dude, any superstar from the women's division would be fine outside of the WWE.
I wouldn't say that. I wouldn't say that.
I would say Bayley would be fine. Sasha, Charlotte.
Bayley is one I don't agree with. I think that Becky, Charlotte because of her name, Becky because of the star and the personality that she's made, and then Sasha because of how many different talents she does outside of WWE. Those three would be fine. Anybody else, I think, would suffer outside of the WWE umbrella.
I think you're sleeping on Bayley a little bit, because I think
she will
become the highest paid women's athlete in the history of AEW the minute her 90 days is up. And it won't even be close. She will be getting a dude's contract.
Hey, I don't know. I just haven't seen Bayley have that transformative mainstream appeal that those other three have. So that's why I kind of question Bayley. And I love Bayley, and I think she's probably the most talented out of the four horsewomen, but she just doesn't have that mainstream appeal as the other three. All right, but we got to move on to our next.
That sex that she does. She's just she can. I believe Bayley is beautiful and she could be sexy, but she's not selling what the other three do.
Exactly. Like Becky is getting looked at by Marvel. Sasha is getting looked at by Disney. Charlotte Flair has that Flair last name. So it's totally different situations with all three of them. But those three have shown that they have crossed over into the mainstream more than Bayley.
I agree with both of you. I think if Bayley Bayley could sell. Her name can sell. She would just have to.
She would still be stuck in wrestling, which is perfectly fine.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like she won't be a star outside. She won't have a mainstream role anywhere, but she would be in wrestling still. But her price tag would have gone fucking astronomically through the roof.
Yeah. Within the wrestling world, but she doesn't have star appeal as the other three.
Bayley's a wrestler. Bayley don't give a shit about anything. That girl has liked wrestling since she came out the womb.
Absolutely.
That's all she cares about.
You can tell by her chronicle. She just still writes notes to herself about realizing her dreams in wrestling. So she loves this business. So that's no doubt. We have to move on to week 55, I believe, of the Wednesday Night Wars of the head-to-head matchup between WWE NXT and AEW Dynamite. This is the time of the show we tell you the ratings for both shows, tell you what happened on both shows, and decide what we thought was the better show for the week. If you don't enjoy our opinions on everything, check out the Wednesday Night Warriors with Romeo, Anthony Colon, and Chris G, where they break down segment by segment of both shows and they let you know which they thought was the better show for the week. Or if you just like AEW, check out the Good Brothers, Jimmy Macaram and Marcus Cash with All Elite recap as they go fully in depth on Dynamite. But Krssi Love, you want to hit the drums? So for week 55 of the Wednesday Night Wars, WWE NXT comes in with 638,000 viewers. That is up by 6,000 viewers from last week when they did 632,000. To AEW Dynamite with 850,000 viewers, up nearly 100K from their last week total of 764,000. WWE NXT had very noteworthy show with Undisputed Era returning to confront and brawl with the Kings of NXT, setting up War Games on December 6th. We had Io Shirai defeat Rhea Ripley in an excellent NXT Women's Championship matchup. We also had Finn Balor return to NXT. We had War Games set up with Shotzi Blackheart and Candice LeRae as the team captains. We also had Toni Storm and Ember Moon defeat Dakota Kai and Raquel Gonzalez in a good tag team matchup. Leon Ruff defeated Johnny Gargano by disqualification to defend the North American Championship, with Damian Priest interfering, which kind of set up a triple threat match with Leon Ruff kind of having a Napoleon complex with not wanting to be the joke in between Gargano and Priest. And we also had Tommaso Ciampa confront Timothy Thatcher. We also, on AEW Dynamite, we had Jon Moxley cut a great promo where he announces that Renee Paquette, I won't call her young, she's the older version of Renee Paquette, is pregnant. It was a great promo because he kind of said it in passing, saying that he has a pregnant wife at home. December 2nd, Dynamite is going to be titled Winter is Coming, with Moxley and Omega going one-on-one for the championship, and the contract signing for this match. The contract signing for this match was preempted due to Moxley being attacked backstage in a whodunit mystery. We had the Young Bucks defeat Top Flight in an awesome opener. We had the Inner Circle slay Las Vegas in a hangover parody. Hilarious stuff there. We had Serena Deeb defeat Thunder Rosa to defend the NWA Women's Championship match in quite possibly the best women's match on Dynamite all year, or a candidate for it at least. We had Pac defeat The Blade, and then Butcher and Eddie Kingston attacked Pac after the match, leading to Phoenix and then Pentagon making the save. So we put back together Death Triangle. Orange Cassidy defeated Kip Sabian. Anna Jay versus Hikaru Shida for the AEW Women's Championship was set up in the most they've done for the women's division in months, literally months. And then finally, Team Taz defeated Darby Allin and Cody Rhodes, and then Will Hobbs turned heel to join Team Taz to end the show. We will start with you, Miss Krssi Love. What would you thought was the better show for this week?
See, this is hard because I love elements from each show. But I guess I'll have to pick, due to the hangover parody from the Inner Circle, I'm going to go with AEW. But I love the Io Shirai and Rhea Ripley match. I thought it was... I couldn't even watch AEW at that time when they were fighting, because I was so glued to them. If that makes sense, like that tag match that they had, I was not even interested in it. So, and then I love the ending for when Finn Balor came out, and then the whole War Games between Pat McAfee and Undisputed Era. So, all right, no, I'm giving it to NXT. Fuck it, there you go.
That's fair. This was one week where I think it could go either way, so that's fair to pick NXT
I
due to
like
those last segments.
correct. There you go. And
Uh,
then, the whole thing with it's certain elements I'll take from each show that I enjoyed thoroughly. You know what I'm saying? Like I didn't enjoy a show in the fullness. I like different parts from each show. So I'm gonna go with NXT. I'm saying what I said. I said what I said. There you go.
Top guy JJ.
So the fascinating thing about AEW is that they do a phenomenal job of somehow making everybody and every little thing feel important. But at this juncture, I think it worked, but it came at a cost. Like the show was obviously they had the Vegas thing, they had the Kenny and John, the contract and all of that. But I felt as if nothing really stood out in AEW Dynamite until the Will Hobbs turn, which I feel like they did that on purpose so you remember Will Hobbs turning. Like but it's such a good, they did such a good job at making sure that that was the highlight of the show. Like Kenny didn't really have a highlight. Mox cut a great promo. They really made the spotlight on somebody that we weren't paying attention to. They do such a good job at that, but I feel like it came at a cost this week. Because NXT had matches, boy. Like NXT's match card was broad head and shoulders better than AEW's as far as like the quality of matches that they put on, in my opinion. I mean, look.
I wouldn't go head and shoulders. You could say it was
that
better.
Women's match. That women's title match is better than anything on the entire AEW Dynamite show.
That's fair. But to say the whole match card, that's a little much.
No, not the match card. All right. Of course they had a dud, and of course that or whatever that
the blindfold match.
Exactly. That shit was that was fucking horrible.
And the opener, we got back-to-back non-finishes in both of them.
And then I wish I got a little bit more. Like I like where they're going with Kushida, but it feels like they're turning him back into this face quietly. But I kind of like the meat that they were starting to develop.
They never turned him heel.
We knew the War Games was coming. We knew the War Games was coming between the Kings of NXT and Undisputed Era, and they actually executed it pretty well. Yeah. I just got to give so much props and so much of an edge to how great that women's match was. Like oh my God, like for a fucking TV match. That shit was amazing. Like I couldn't, and then the tag team finisher at the end with Cody and Darby fighting Team Taz when in such a average ass match. That shit was average. Just to make sure that we remembered at the end of the show, Will Hobbs was gonna have that turn, which was cool. I liked it. Like I said, I liked it. But it just, to me, it came like I'm going to pick a great ass women's championship match and the little feathers that NXT had put in a pretty damn decent show over what they intended on. But that Hangover parody was fucking phenomenal. Like it was phenomenal. But I'm tired of giving AEW week after week after week on promos. So like I gave it last week. AEW to me was hands down based on the Penta and Phoenix match. I'm giving it to NXT this week based on the EO and Ripley match.
Okay, so we got 2 for NXT. I will be different. I will not make it unanimous. I will say that AEW, this was one of the most consistent episodes of AEW in about 2 or 3 months. Like everything hit. If they didn't hit a home run out the park with everything was a hit and they got on base. The opener was all action and it put over Top Flight. It created new stars in the tag team division in that team between the Vignette and going hold for hold with the Young Bucks. Orange Cassidy and Kip Sabian was probably the strongest match of that entire feud that's been going on there. I love the Pac being back. I just missed him so much. It was just I will say the only thing that Top Guy JJ did say correct is that AEW, everything feels important. everything. I won't say that it hurts them that everything feels important, but they are like the guy at the circus with the plate spinning, and they have so many things that they keep spinning, and it just makes every yeah, exactly. It makes everything important. That's why it's always a long paragraph of what happened on AEW while it's just certain things on NXT hit. I will give all the credit in the world. The best match of the night was Io Shirai versus Rhea Ripley. The ending segment was fantastic, but I'm not going to give the show the win for the last 30 minutes of the show. If the first hour and a half is only good to decent, which it was, this was probably the best non-themed NXT episode of the year, but this is one of the best episodes of Dynamite all year, and stuff did stand out to me. The Hangover parody by Inner Circle stood out tremendously, and we got the best women's matchup of the year for AEW with Thunder Rosa and Serena Deeb. Thunder Rosa does not get enough credit. She is having a woman of the year, women's wrestler of the year type of resume between her matches at NWA, her matches in AEW. She is an absolute star, and the fact that they set her up in a feud with Goat Baker, I am all for it. This is the most they have done for AEW's women's division. That's the biggest thing that stood out of the night in either show to me, is that the most neglected part of AEW they finally put focus on and put a spotlight on. So I'm definitely giving it to AEW.
Can I just say, and I forgot to say that both shows had great women's matches. Both of their women's matches were like on a level that was just, and like you said, Britt Baker comes in, Reba comes in, like, even though JR fucked up her name twice, comes on, distracts her, and then, they have a whole feud. And like, I thought both, like you said, something that was neglected, we had two great women's matches on a Wednesday night.
Yeah, and that's the first time that we could say that both shows, the women's matches were the strongest matches of the night.
Of the night, exactly. The both women's matches were the matches of the night for the whole show.
Right.
Yes.
And that's saying something very, very big. Yeah. Especially for AEW, who's kind of like neglected the whole thing. And even when they had that whole shit with like Brandy in the background, I was like, what is this? What is happening? And then what's the girl name? Jesus, oh God.
Jade?
No, not Jade.
Oh, Big Swole came up.
Swole. I was like, her acting, girl, you got to do better than that.
Terrible. Terrible.
Girl. No.
Terrible. Just terrible.
And I was disappointed in her. I was like, because you wrestle your ass off of it for your acting to be like this. I was like, come on, girl. No, we can't. No, we can't do this.
Well, I'm just happy that they had 3 different stories with the women's division. When we only get 5-minute matches on the usual, we got one of the best women's matches of the year. We had the great promo by John Silva and Anna Jay setting up the women's championship match for next week. And that Jade thing was just a continuation from last week, but it was something for the women's division.
And now she's aligned herself. It looked like she's with Vicky. And
Nyla Rose,
which is like, that's big. Yep. If you want to like align yourself with someone that's very dominant, you got Vicky with her loud ass mouth, and then you got Nyla. You're doing something. I don't know what it is yet, but it's something. It's trickling. It's like they're putting the potion together, so it's looking like it's something that's gonna happen. That's good.
And then underneath the surface, they're also setting up so many trios that it begs the question: are we going to get trios trios titles? Because you got Team Taz with a trio, you got the Elite, of course, you got Death Triangle. I was so happy to see those guys back together. You got Eddie Kingston, Butcher, and the Blade. So there's so many different factions. It feels like the Attitude Era, where everybody has something going on. Everybody has a story. Which with NXT, I could have skipped the blindfold match. I could have skipped the first half of that Leo Ruff stuff. The second half with the backstage segment and the brawl they had, that was good. That actually made me feel like he was a character, even though he's been treated like a joke last week. And in that first segment, I could have done without, even though it was a good matchup, but I could have skipped the Kushida versus Angel Ruas. I could have skipped the Candice LeRae and Indy Hartwell versus Kaden Carter and Casey Catanzaro. I'm not going to give the win for 30 minutes. They had a great 30 minutes, probably the best non-themed 30 minutes of NXT all year, but that doesn't win on Wednesday nights when everything on Dynamite hit.
Said it's all right. Don't worry.
No, No, I understand giving them the win. It's like they never get a win, but this was a really good show for them to. This was a really good show for them, and you won't have that many weeks where you could say that about NXT. So I understand giving them the win.
That's the thing. That's the thing. That's what is that. Yo, honestly, put it like this: AEW show is better every single week. Like just about AEW's overall show is going to be better just about every week. It's like when NXT hit something, it feels like, oh my god, like why can't y'all strike on this more? Like why can't y'all deliver on this more? Give us more of this good shit. And it's like hanging on to that hope. And then listen, I'm just giving the props to two women that tore the fucking house down on a main event that delivered for that show. And this is going to just literally just circle back to the same thing that we might have talked about 10 Tru Heel Heats ago, 15 Tru Heel Heats ago, keeps going. NXT fails every week to develop a star. Yeah. They fail every week because there's a different main event. There's something different going on. There's no face of the brand. There's no face of the company.
Consistent new star that they've made is Pat McAfee. Pat McAfee is a hit every single week for me. I'm sorry. He's the best promo on NXT, period. I will not even get into an argument about this.
Yeah,
there's no one better on promo.
That's
dead. This guy. Dead. What's the guy's name with the mustache? Robert Fish. Dead. I just love his promo work. His promo work is on point.
But that's the problem. That's the problem with NXT. That's their problem, is that we don't have that guy that we tune into every week. We just don't have it. We are looking for a good overall show from NXT, while AEW is just, they got a different flavor for everybody.
Yeah.
And that they're overall just a better program. But I just wanted to show some love to the ladies of NXT this week because they fucking did it this week.
Yeah, and that's what I said. I will give them the match of the night. It's no question. It's Io Shirai and Rhea Ripley. They went out there and they gave us the equivalent of Finn Balor and Kyle O'Reilly from TakeOver 31. Just a physically intense, excellent NXT Women's Championship match. But that's match of the night. That's not the show.
And I didn't want to sound biased with this Hangover shit because Hangover is like my favorite trilogy ever, man. Like I would have shut down this whole shit with just saying AEW just off the Hangover parody, man. Like, come on. It's just, come on. Got to give NXT a fucking drumstick when you can.
But you got to shout out Kodan with the cameo, with giving them the weed.
Is that a dragon? Is that a dragon? I can tell. Don't touch me. Don't touch me.
Great stuff.
Come on, like whoever did that. I mean, wow. Like it was. And, it shows that the people are like, okay, I really don't like you, but I'm going to enjoy this time because since you're paying for it, you're going to flip the bill. I'm going to enjoy myself.
And the most underrated part of the whole Inner Circle dynamic now is Wardlow and Jake Hager's simmering rivalry and being the toughest guy in the group.
They're bromance. They're brawlic-mance. They're brawlic-mance.
That's a good term. That's a good term. I like it. We got to move on to our news portion of the show. As previously reported by Dave Meltzer, WrestleVotes confirms that the newest plan is to move the ThunderDome WWE events to Tropicana Field beginning in mid-December, and it was officially announced today by WWE. Yes, the ThunderDome will be moving to Tropicana Field on December 11th. The current plan is for that ThunderDome
Come on, SP. The first episode of 101, you can't give it the cloud. You can't give it the name that it deserves.
Okay. The WWE ThunderDome will be remaining in Tropicana Field until WrestleMania 37, and the company still has plans for fans to be present for Royal Rumble or WrestleMania and confirms that they will have fans in some capacity by the night after Mania. WrestleVotes also reports that all
the right way, but they don't want to.
Hey, I wasn't gonna get into that. WrestleVotes WrestlePost also reported that although Edge versus Orton has been the long-term plan for WrestleMania, there has been an internal talks of doing Edge versus The Fiend, as well as Edge and Beth Phoenix versus The Fiend and Alexa Bliss at WrestleMania as well.
Oh, please don't do it. No, I don't. I don't need to see Beth Phoenix. No, thank you. I'll pass.
Hey, to each his own, you know.
Yeah, I ain't gonna lie though. I am absolutely loving this Fiend and Alexa shit right now.
Yes, she's like his
This shit is like the evil fairy tale. Like I love it.
It's like the Joker and Harley Quinn for sure. It is.
Love it.
Joker and Harley Quinn. She's definitely Harley Quinn, and what she did on Friday, amazing.
Monday.
Oh,
Yeah, jumping on John Morrison, that was fun.
On that channel, right? Okay. So.
She's a fucking goon, yo. She's a goon. I love it.
She rides for him. She's a ride or die.
Yeah.
Wrestling Observer Newsletter reports that Alex Zane has officially signed with WWE, and he will join Ben Carter and the Rascals for the next Performance Center class. Sasha Banks, like we said before, had her big debut on Disney Plus's Mandalorian series this past week, and it was reported by Fightful Select that the Mandalorian directors did not find out about her from WWE, but actually her appearance on the Hot Ones YouTube series. Kind of funny how WWE is not mainstream.
Right?
Fightful Selects also reports, this is what I teased to you earlier in the show, Miss Krssi Love, that WWE was thinking of naming Chelsea Green Victorious prior to her SmackDown debut. She was no longer going to be Chelsea Green. She was just going to be known as Victorious. Gotta love those names.
Hated it.
Mike Bennett spoke out about WWE calling them greedy and running a company on fear following the release of Zelina Vega. We also, PW Insider reports that this Sunday at Survivor Series, Kurt Angle will join Kane and the BSK crew for the Undertaker's 30th anniversary. And SmackDown ratings for this past week were 2.234 million viewers, while Raw drew 1.778 million viewers. AEW news, Kenny Omega, congratulations to him for being named for the Wrestling Observer Hall of Fame based on his time in Japan and of course his impact in AEW. That is well deserved. And speaking of accolades like that, FTR is named the #1 tag team in the Pro Wrestling Illustrated Top 50 Tag Teams of the Year, and the top 10 are as followed. Coming in at number 2 was Kenny Omega and Hangman Page. Coming in at number 3 was the Golden Role Models of Sasha Banks and Bailey. Coming in at number 4 was the North. Number 5 was the Street Profits. Number 6, the Gorillas of Destiny. Number 7, the Lucha Bros. Number 8, the New Day. Number 9, the Kabuki Warriors. And number 10, Roppongi 3K. I will ask you, Top Guy JJ, what are your thoughts on the top 10 and the fact that the Young Bucks, who were in arguably the best tag team match or match of the year in the time span of October 1st, 2019 to September 30th, 2020, are not in the top 10 and coming at number 11.
So the most asinine thing I have ever heard is that Roppongi 3K is ranked in this above. Like how? In God's so we're not even. So first of all, we need to enter. So I would put the Young Bucks, say, probably right in front of the New Day. Right. I would probably put them at number 7, but that would bump New Day up to 8, or would that bump them up to 9? That shit would definitely get Roppongi off this fucking list. How? I don't look, man, look. I know people, we love our New Japan wrestling and all, but really?
Even New Japan don't like the tag team division.
Come on. That shit is ridiculous. I think almost pretty much they got it right. I'm still on the fence. There's no way I would give FTR the number 1 slot. I don't think.
Well, you have to think about the criteria here. The criteria
what's
is
the time frame?
From October 1st, 2019 to September 30th, 2020. They won the tag team titles.
Okay, I got you. Okay.
On SmackDown, they won the tag.
The time frame makes sense.
They won the titles in AEW.
They're 3-time tag champs in that same time frame. I got the time frame makes sense. Okay, I got you.
Yeah, so the FTR is well deserved at that number one spot. I know people complained about Hangman and Kenny Omega being number two because they're not, quote unquote, not a real tag team, but that's ridiculous to me. Like, they have put
Whatever.
on so many great tag team matches
Whatever.
that you need to stop hating.
They could have the best tag team match of all time, but yeah, they're not up. Yeah, whatever.
Marks, like, because that's what it sounds like.
Pretty much. I think that's the best way to describe it.
Shouts to the Street Profits, though. Like, shouts to the Street Profits.
I don't think anyone can argue.
Top 5? Shouts to the Street Profits.
Yeah. Honestly, I can't see anyone arguing that.
Right. Thank you.
AEW is collaborating.
Smoke.
Yes, she does.
Like, if you watch SmackDown, the Lynches, the kids hate. They're like, no, absolutely not. No.
Yeah, because they're heavy machinery fans. They're still mad.
Right. Yeah, they're still. Me and Dad, we want the smoke. We like our red cups. The children, they still want the pancakes and foolishness.
Hey, it's okay. It's all right.
They're very devastated that Biggie. He's like, wait, why is Biggie here? I had to do the whole draft over again. It was just okay. Go ahead.
You had to scar them and make them relive it. AEW is collaborating with Director X for the History of a Revolution documentary covering some of the underdog stories in the company that was previewed. That was previewed on Dynamite this week. I don't know when the full documentary is coming out, but it looked very, very good from the trailer.
Love a good documentary, SP.
I know you do. We'll probably have to review that as well. Jay Cargill and Matt Sydal officially signed with AEW, as well as have signed. They have reportedly signed Top Flight, according to Wrestling Observer. Cody Rhodes on AEW Restricted podcast says that there are different tiers of AEW contracts, with individuals signing per show deals with guaranteed contracts, as well as a separate tier. And the Chris Jericho is the highest paid contract on the books. According to Wrestling Observer newsletter, no AEW talent are currently scheduled to be on the New Japan Pro Wrestling Wrestle Kingdom 15 card. And in regards to Don Callis appearing on Full Gear, Tony Khan told him that if it wasn't for Jericho versus Omega in New Japan, there wouldn't be an AEW. Top Guy JJ, do you see that there's any chance of a AEW and Impact Wrestling, the chances of those two promotions working together?
Absolutely. And the funny is that AEW is a very, very open door company. And you can see it. Like, they're willing to pull people from all sorts of independent scenes. They're willing to put them on their primary show. They're very, very open to what fans want. So all they need to do is hear enough of it, hear enough buzz, and get enough feedback that this is actually something that would work. And it's all game. Like, the last one that's going to probably get some steam out of this is probably going to be New Japan, which I'm actually happy about. Because I never thought that AEW needed New Japan to take off. I never wanted that to take off like that, because AEW felt like it was going to be a company that was going to be powerful on its own. So partnering up with these smaller companies and giving the other smaller companies some notoriety, hell yeah, AEW would be with that.
For sure. New Japan news, New Japan Pro Wrestling Super J Cup will be streaming via Fight TV. ROH news, ROH announces their Final Battle 2020 pay-per-view will be on December 18th. Impact Wrestling news, the Rascals and Impact Pro Wrestling apparently had an amicable split. The company did not offer the group enough money to re-sign them. That is why they are leaving. And in other wrestling news, MLW, during their fusion for the restart, announced the bracket for the 2020 Opera Cup. It's going to be Tom Lawler going one-on-one with New Japan Pro Wrestling's Rocky Romero. We're going to see Triple A's Laredo Kid going one-on-one with ACH. TJP will go one-on-one with the Dynasty's Richard Holiday, and Davey Boy Smith Jr. will go one-on-one with former MLW heavyweight champion Low Key. And in new free agency news, we got Marty Bell announced this this week that she is no longer under contract for NWA. And finally, guys, we're going to end things off with WWE Survivor Series 2020 previews and predictions. We'll kind of go through the preview and predictions very quickly, but of course, this is also the 30th anniversary of The Undertaker, and it's going to be The Undertaker's final farewell. If you guys follow me on Wrestling Daily, Wrestle2's YouTube channel, live on Wednesday, me and the good brother Alex McCarthy, we debated the greatest rival of The Undertaker. And we said that the he kind of did on his radio show, the Mount Rushmore. His Mount Rushmore for Undertaker opponents or rivals was HBK, Kane, Brock Lesnar, and Triple H, and I argued taking off Triple H for Mankind.
Yo, I'm a winner. Mankind.
I kind of made. I said you gotta
some shine. Like, don't do that. Like, I get rid of Brock and let's get. I don't need to see Brock.
No, I can't say you give away Brock because that spans 2 generations, and Brock's feud with the Undertaker really created Brock as a top star, and the latter half feud was kind of. The streak, the ending of the streak, that's like the biggest thing. And then their 2015 run was very critically acclaimed because they had really great matches. I mean, the
Triple H shit gotta go, dude. With all due respect, Triple H gotta go. That rivalry was completely one-sided until that massacre of a show where Triple H finally beat him in the one last battle.
Triple H had better matches with other people before him, so I wouldn't even put him in that whole realm. But of course, he's the boss's son-in-law, whatever. So he's gonna be on you already know why he's on this.
Triple H, not Triple H.
See, we can agree on things. See, I gotta send this part to Alex so he can see that.
Not Triple H. Sorry.
Why leave out Mick Foley? That's not right.
So, an interesting one that I hear that I will ask you guys is, what do you think is the better Shawn Michaels match? Not between 25 and 26, but actually, this was a great point. Which is better, Undertaker versus Shawn Michaels at WrestleMania 25 or the first ever Hell in a Cell at Bad Blood 1997 because of how much impact that had with being the first Hell in a Cell, with their legendary feud, with the debut of Kane? Which one was, in your opinion, better? I'll start with you, Krssi.
Hell in a Cell, duh. That's a no-brainer. Let's just call a spade a spade. I mean, whatever anyone else says, I'm saying, and I said what I said. Hell
of Top Guy JJ.
Spicy one. I'm a fan of violence. So I mean, Hell in a Cell. I mean, that shit resonates. Hell in a Cell resonates. But I gotta go WrestleMania 25.
Okay, friend.
WrestleMania 25 felt like the perfect WrestleMania match. Like, besides, to me, the only ones that I even put up even on that level is Kurt Angle and Shawn Michaels. Like that was perfection between a big guy and a small guy, and they fucking looked like they had 2,000 matches together. Like, that was synergy. That was just beautiful artwork by 2 of the greats. And as good as the match on 26 was, that shit was great. So many pegs lower than 25.
I'd say all 3 of those matches could be in the Undertaker's top 5 greatest matches ever, and they all give you something different. I think the best in-ring match is definitely 25. The most impactful and legendary has to be Bad Blood, but the one with the best build-up was 26. So if you want different things from each of those, they each give you something different. So I think you wouldn't be wrong any of those ways. But I just had to ask you guys. Thank you for that.
Oh, hell yeah.
Either one, you can't really go wrong because they gave an ass kicking in all matches, to be honest.
They always, that is definitely, in my opinion, the Undertaker's.
Put some respect on Mick Foley's name, though.
Let's go.
Put some respect on there, yo.
Him and Undertaker has some some of Mankind's matches, would make trendsetters. He threw him off of a cage, friend.
This man had a tooth up his nose for this man.
Yeah, I think my best argument against, picking Mankind over Triple H is that everyone's going to remember the Triple H 27 and 28 matches, but both of their legends were already made at that time. The whole legend of Mankind and The Undertaker was made through their 2-year feud from 96 to 98. So
2 years, like the video packages alone can tell you a lot.
Bro, that boiler room match. The boiler room match.
people forget they were in the first ever Boiler Room match. They were in the first ever Buried Alive match. And then the Paul Bearer heel turn. There was so many layers to that Mankind and Undertaker feud that
Epic shit.
Put some respect on his name. Yeah, put some respect on Mick Foley's name. I'm sorry. Let's do it. Yeah.
I'm glad we can agree on something. So,
True Heel unity.
Let's go to our predictions. We got 6 matchups on the tally for this Sunday. It is champion versus champion. First of all, the U.S. champion Bobby Lashley going one-on-one with Intercontinental champion Sami Zayn. Who wins this one, Raw or SmackDown? Zayn or Lashley? Krssi Love.
For this is my only Raw match that I'm going for, which is this one, which is Raw. Bobby.
Top guy JJ.
I am surprised by this one. I'm definitely going with Sami Zayn.
Really?
I'm definitely going with Sami Zayn to win this hook, line, and sinker. Like, he is gonna cheat the shit out of Bobby Lashley in this match. He is definitely going. Sami Zayn is the smartest man in wrestling since he's returned.
But Bobby Lashley has been the most protected heel on Monday Night Raw. I agree with Krssi Love. Bobby Lashley is going to easily win this one. We got champion versus champion once again. Yes, easily. He's been the most protected heel. He's been Brock Lesnar protected on Raw. I don't see him losing to Sami Zayn. Champion versus champion. It's gonna be the Raw Tag Team Champions, the New Day, going up against SmackDown Tag Team Champions, the Street Profits. Let's start with you, top guy JJ.
Yeah, this is when I flip back to the red brand. Like New Day said it perfect, yo. All they do is win. They come through and they win. Like, they show up and win. They are going, and I think this is gonna be the match of the night. I think this is gonna be the match of the night right here. And the New Day is gonna pull this off.
Miss Krssi Love.
I agree. This might be the match tonight. However, I believe we're going to be delivering those L's, and the Street Profits will win. Sorry, friend.
They are not serving pancakes on Sunday. They are serving L's. I agree with Miss Krssi Love. Once again, the Street Profits are going to get the win here to put over the younger team for New Day to put over the younger team. Champion versus champion. Once again, we got Asuka, the Raw Women's Champion, going up against SmackDown Women's Champion Sasha Banks. I will pick first in this one. I am only going to go by the rivalries on either show. Asuka has none. Sasha has 2, so 2 could get involved in this match. So I'm going to go with Asuka getting the victory here. Who do you have, Miss Krssi Love?
I wasn't bringing those as a factor. She do have two people that is coming after her, which is the new Carmella, which I'm really not. I don't know what it is yet. I ain't feeling it yet. I don't know. My finger can't touch it. I don't understand it. I don't get it. But I said I'm going blue all night, so I'm going blue. I'm going Sasha.
Who you got, top guy JJ?
I'm gonna stay red on this one. I'm going Asuka on this one. Sasha's beaten her many times already. Sasha has a bunch of victories over Asuka, and I just see Asuka turning the tide this time. I see Asuka, and this is gonna be another fantastic match.
This is gonna be a fun.
This is gonna be another fantastic match. But
I wish I didn't see it so many times over the summer. I would be more excited for that match.
I don't mind it. I don't mind seeing these two go at it.
We got the Women's Survivor Series matchup. It's going to be
Now this I mind seeing.
We're going to be Team Raw of Shayna Baszler, Nia Jax, Lacey Evans, Peyton Royce, and Lana versus Team SmackDown, Bianca Belair, Ruby Riott, Liv Morgan, and 2 more to be announced.
The team still ain't even complete.
Right.
Yes.
This shit is in 3 days.
Yes. I'm gonna
They're gonna pack the show with mad shit for everyone to go through on Friday. watch.
Who
And I
do
have
you
to talk about it for you guys to see.
who do you have, top guy JJ?
SmackDown is winning this shit.
Yep.
Like, the Raw team is so trash. Oh my God, that team is awful. Like,
Go ahead.
Shayna is not awful.
Yeah,
Shayna's the only bright
no,
side.
they're not. No, Shayna is like, it's like Shayna is mixed in there with a bag of shit. Like, it's just no. All no's across the board. SmackDown.
Who do you got, Miss Krssi Love?
I got SmackDown for the win, only because my girl Bianca as team captain is going to bring Team Blue to the winning of this, and it's going to be one of her nights to bring. She probably will put Lana through a table. I don't know, or maybe, you know what? No, Lana's going to go through a table because of her own teammates. So therefore, I'm going Team Blue, SmackDown.
Part of me wants to say that Lana gets put through a table and she comes in at the end and gets a cheap win to be the sole survivor. That kind of feels like how WWE would book this, but I believe they're going to see something in Bianca Belair. Bianca Belair, the sole survivor, and Team SmackDown wins. And to fill out the team, I think they're going to add in Natalya. She's been in all of these qualifying matches. I think she's going to get in there somehow. And maybe Tamina. Who knows? The
Naomi?
men's.
Oh, she's injured?
Who?
Naomi.
Yeah, she's injured. Men's and she's on Raw. Men's Survivor Series matchup. It's gonna be Team Raw of Keith Lee, AJ Styles, Sheamus, Braun Strowman, and Riddle going up against Team SmackDown of Kevin Owens, Jey Uso, Seth Rollins, King Corbin, and one more to be announced. I'm gonna say the to be announced is gonna be Murphy. And I am going to say that Team Raw gets the victory here with Keith Lee being the sole survivor. Who do you have, Krssi Love?
I was gonna say Team SmackDown and Jay being the final one to lead our tribal chief into winning his match.
JJ?
If you're not sleeping.
Ain't no way in hell SmackDown winning this match. You see that team on Raw?
Raw's ridiculous.
That Raw team is man, shit.
I'm gonna say
Raw is
Keith
probably
Lee
gonna
and
end up.
Sheamus.
Yo, I see Raw having 3 survivors at the end of this match.
You think so,
They're
Fred?
all gonna wipe the floor with this SmackDown team. That SmackDown team is ass.
Fair. That's not fair, friend. Okay, whatever.
The best thing on that entire Raw team is the Friday Night Messiah right now, and the rest of the team sucks.
So
Jey Uso is awesome.
Jey Uso's real. My bad. Jey Uso, he's a servant. He's a servant.
Don't matter.
He's servant to our tribal chief. We're all servants to our tribal chief.
Yeah, I know, but we're not in the Survivor Series match, are we?
Hey, if we were, we would be favored because we are servants to the tribal chief.
Yeah, I don't know if that Raw team looking too ridiculous. I don't know how much we be favored.
I'm surprised you didn't avoid Matt Riddle.
Well,
I think the 2 eliminators from Raw is going to be Braun Strowman's going to eliminate himself, and Matt Riddle will get actually eliminated.
Yeah, I mean, I see AJ getting eliminated. I see it's Keith Lee and Sheamus, all the sole survivors. But
I love that Matt Riddle gave everyone names. That was a great segment.
He's dopey.
Of course he is dopey.
And then the main event, the match we all been looking forward to, which I will say I wish they would have had a longer build up to this because this feels a lot bigger than it's been given, build for. But it is champion versus champion, the new WWE champion Drew McIntyre going one-on-one with not the tribal chief, our tribal chief, your tribal chief, everyone's tribal chief, the universal champion Roman Reigns. So I think at this point it would be, I think it's going to be split at this point for me, or 2-2 or 3-2 in favor of Raw, but I'm going to go with the tribal chief, of course, Roman Reigns getting the victory in this one. Who you got, top guy?
I think if I'm going right, I think I'm split as well right now. So wow. There's no way the biggest star in the entire company is losing this match.
Who is that?
That our tribal chief, like
Yeah.
the king of the WWE.
Across the
Like
board,
there's no like as much as I want to go with that upset, I just don't see it. I don't see it. I don't see it.
upset. Why would you make the tribal chief lose? He's on a
Like
run.
I
there's a
mean,
certain
it
there's
is kind of because, Drew has been heavily protected, and the fact that he just lost to Randy and then just won the title back, it's hard to see him losing here, but
yo
that's what makes this match, that's what makes this whole card a
there,
one match show, because this is the
there
toughest one to choose.
dude. There's a thing, but there's something called on fire, and then there's something called in fuego. Roman Reigns is in fuego right now. Like he's on a different level right now. Like it's just how do you make him suffer a defeat at this point in time right now? It's
Right.
just hard to vision. It's hard to see it. It's too hard to see it.
I agree there. So we all got Roman Reigns getting the victory. But I think even though the buildup has been weak, I think we can all agree that the performers that are on this card are going to deliver a fun show, and it should be good with WWE Survivor Series 2020 this coming Sunday. And that brings us to a close on Tru Heel Heat 101. I will announce now we are taking next week off. We got Thanksgiving, we got families and everything. So we're going to take 1 week off. So we'll be back in 2 weeks' time. But check out all the lineup going on the Tru Heel Heat YouTube channel. You could check out our very special Tru Heel Heat 100 episode from last week if you haven't already. Definitely our biggest.
It's our WrestleMania.
Absolutely. That's why it's called Tru Heel Mania. Absolutely. Definitely our biggest episode yet, with many fantastic past guests coming back and visiting us and wishing us congratulations on 100th episode. We have a special Dark Power up on the YouTube channel reviewing Impact Turning Point with myself and Stat King. We have the latest True Rewind Wednesday Night Warriors Dark Power, J News Japan, Krssi Love with SmackDown with the Lynches, and Review of Honor are all up right now, as well as an all-new Dark Power, Wednesday Night Warriors, J News Japan, Review of Honor, True Rewind, and SmackDown with Delicious will be up either this weekend or early next week. Our WWE Survivor Series 2020 pay-per-view roundtable will be up early next week as well. You can also check out myself on my last appearance on Alice McCarthy's Wrestling Daily on Wrestle Talks Wrestle 2 YouTube channel. And right now, as we talked about earlier, we have our latest great debate, this time talking about the better Undertaker rival between Triple H and Mankind in honor of his 30th anniversary. Top Guy JJ, tell them where they can find you online.
On Instagram, you can find me at TrueHeel_Top Guy JJ. At Facebook, I'm simply Justin Johnson. And that is it. Twitter, I have still yet to use. Like, I've been getting followers like weekly all of a sudden, but I'm like, you're not gonna see shit, so you just might as well just unfollow me there.
Hey, Miss Krssi Love.
You can find me the station Miss Krssi Love _ on IG and Twitter, and on Facebook I'm just Crystal Lynch and SmackDown with the Lynches.
Absolutely. Always good stuff over there. Of course, you can follow us on Facebook, the Tru Heels group page. Tru Heel Heat is on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Our promotion partners, Battle Club Pro, Warrior Wrestling, and Mission Pro Wrestling. You can check them out on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram as well as our good friends over at Wrestling Travel on all three platforms. You can subscribe. Push the iCard down at the bottom of this video to subscribe to the Tru Heel Heat YouTube channel. Less than 145 subscribers away from that 1K mark. We got some merchandise to give away, so we want to hit that 1K mark by the end of the year to give to you guys, give back to our supporters. So share this video, comment down below, tell us what you thought. Let us know what you think is the greatest Undertaker rival and what you think about this coming weekend Survivor Series for sure. Of course, course, subscribe to Battle Club Pro, Warrior Wrestling, Mission Pro Wrestling on YouTube, Jimmy Macaram, My Battery is Dying as well, and Wrestle2 YouTube channel. You can listen to Tru Heel Heat by on iTunes, SoundCloud, Spotify, wherever you listen to your favorite audio podcasts. So until Tru Heel Heat 102 in 2 weeks' time, we are signing off for Tru Heel Heat 101. Happy Thanksgiving to everyone watching. For the resident Tru Heel alcoholic Top Guy JJ, for the princess of all the Tru Heels, Miss Krssi Love, it is me, your Tru Heel phenom, SP3. We are signing off for Tru Heel Heat 101. Until next time.